Beth Youngblood and Katie Dickinson. Kathi and Woody may have chosen that song, but I think all of us would have chosen it to describe them and their lives. So what a way to begin. In the spirit of why we're here and the lessons that Kathi and Woody have taught us, let us pause for one moment to remember and reflect and send our love and thoughts to our neighbors in Nepal who are struggling to recover their land and their lives and grieve for their loved ones. Thank you. On another continent, somewhere in Belize, a woman is using my grandmother's hand mixer, the kind that goes like this. Kathi and Woody were visiting and saw this woman. He had no way to blend and, I don't know, no electricity or something. So they came home, they started asking around, they started telling the story, and a connection was made. One small story in a lifetime of stories of service, commitment, and peacemaking. You've heard the adage, someone would give you the shirt off their back. Well, that's indeed these two. I happen to be wearing a shirt that that I admired one day and now I own. Because it made them complete to give it to me and it made me happy to receive it. Woody Jr., Greg, and Laura, who will see this on tape, and Cynthia and the rest of your families, you are blessed by the love of your parents and the gift of having been given roots and wings. But Kathi and Woody didn't stop at you. They've traveled the world to give roots and wings to all of those they meet, from the highest Buddhist masters to the most impoverished ghetto dwellers. All along the way, doing great things, doing small things with great love, weaving love of all, service, character, and the most wonderful sense of humor to create hope and friendship in a world that is quite often bereft of those things. For many around the world, Kathi and Woody, you are the angels among us. And it's not just around the world. There's hardly a nonprofit in Missoula that hasn't been touched by Kathi and Woody somehow. The groups that are working for the poorest among us, to feed the hungry, to free the innocent, to give voice to those without one and dignity to our elders, to work for justice and equality, and to inspire us with art and knowledge and music. Kathi and Woody have your back. And to the nonprofit that's dearest to my heart, Kathi and Woody have devoted hours and hours and years. How many of you have ever gotten a mailing from the Peace Center? Okay, chances are Woody had a hand in that. And how many members do we have out there? Okay, Kathi keeps track of you. She knows who among you is expired and needs to pay up, and she'll check you later. And if you're not a member, Kathy's waiting. Whether around the world or here at home, they're hardwired to see a need or a desire and ask, what can I do to make that person's life easier, or who needs to hear this story? I think they must constantly have this little file cabinet in their heads when they, aha, so-and-so needs something. Who do I know? Oh, you've got it. Let me introduce you. And therefore, they make friends all around the world. Living simply so others can simply live. And all along the way, peace is created. As barriers are broken down, as friends are made, foreigners become friends, as our minds are awakened to the poverty and need in the world, and as we are all engaged to participate with them in building this more connected world. The Buddha said, you cannot travel the path until you have become the path. Kathi and Woody, my good friends, I joined this gathering today to honor you, because not only have you become the path in your lives, but you're showing it to me, and I'm sure to all of us here. So the Peace Quilters have been working on a very special quilt for you two since last fall, when they were inspired by the stories that you told us. And they've been working together, as they always do, in a truly collaborative and peaceful way. And today, in just a little while, they'll present a beautiful piece of art that expresses your life. I would like to ask the Peace Quilters to stand so we can thank and honor them. They're just such a wonderful part of our history. And then the members of the Peace Center Coordinating Council, if you would stand. Couple, The Peace Center's been in Missoula just a little bit less time than the Quilters started, and we are a resource for nonviolence, social justice, and environmental sustainability, and trying to keep those issues foremost on your minds and a part of every dialogue that we have as a community. I will plug our conference that we're going to have in June on the 13th called Rising from the Ashes. How do we together create peace from chaos, confusion, and conflict? It's June 13th, and please mark it on your calendars. You'll hear more about it later. The Peacemaker Award is probably our favorite event every year because it's our chance to honor someone local who is showing us, inspiring us, the way to create peace in our community, in our hearts, and in our world. So these two groups come together every year and choose someone from the nominations they get, and you guys did an outstanding job this year. So now we have invited Father Jim Hogan and Anita Doyle and Kathi and Woody's son, Woody Jr., to speak and tell us a little bit about the Kathi and Woody that they know. So.
Good afternoon, everybody. This was my home for so many years, I can hardly avoid doing this, and I hope I will be forgiven. Would you two mind coming and sitting over here where we can all see it? Thank you. You know, I invite people to my home for your dinner quite often, and the other day somebody said to me, "Did you have George Clooney at your home?" I said, "No, why?" And they said, "Well, I saw this guy come out here and named the dinner." I said, "Oh, his name's Woody." Well, as Betsy said, it's impossible to exaggerate the value and significance of these two people, Kathi and Woody. Oh, by the way, I meant to say, they said he was with a very beautiful, well-dressed woman. That's why the guy made the mistake. These two live together in peace, I think. Married now for 55 years. They live with and coordinate communal concerns in peace with 35 individuals in the Spotswood condominiums. And as Betsy said, they build peace by volunteering their time and talent in multiple ways. So she said a lot. I'm not going to quite do that. Instead, I want to honor you by sharing these reflections about some somber reality in our world, because I think that's at the heart of your life. First, taxes. Ooh, got quiet. We all pay taxes, and should. Taxation on every level of government is simply a civic responsibility. It won't work without us. Taxes are the most certain way available for us to provide for the common good of all citizens. So just use today as a reminder. Militarization. At the present time, 55 cents of every dollar you or I pay in federal taxes is spent on the military. Other nations like Iran cannot manufacture or possess nuclear weapons. At the same time, our present nuclear arsenal of 5,000 nuclear warheads is being improved and upgraded. That means making them more deadly and destructive. Since World War II, as a nation, we have gradually been transformed into a people of violence. We are the arms supplier now for the world. The firebombing of Germany, then the destruction of Hiroshima and Nagasaki, were accompanied by a national sigh of relief. The war was over. But it was not over. Our national psyche has been manipulated by a fear of threat. Communism and the Cold War, Korea, Vietnam, 2 Bush wars, and now the ongoing war on Islamic terrorism. The United States military has simply grown exponentially. Neither violence nor war can resolve political, social, or economic conflicts. It does not work in our homes. It does not work in our neighborhoods. And clearly it does not work among nations. Gandhi understood this. An eye for an eye, and the entire world will be blind. Yet we pour inordinate amounts of treasury and human resources into the fog of war. Our remote-controlled drones kill, destroy, and antagonize entire nations, awakening enormous resentment. And involved in all that, the National Rifle Association persuades us to ignore the extent of gun violence in our country. In this century, gun incidents have occurred in 114 of our nation's schools. And we move on. I know it's controversial to talk about that stuff, but peacemakers have to. Israel. For 65 plus years, Uncle Sam has served as Israel's rich daddy and protector. This has brought neither peace nor security to the good people of Israel. Benjamin Netanyahu inadvertently acknowledged, I think, the main obstacle to peace in his recent political panic when he vowed there will be no two-state solution in my time. A Zionist minority, and that's so important to know. I know a lot of people in Israel. There's a Zionist minority generates the domestic political gridlock in Israel. They are doggedly committed to establishing a greater Israel from the Mediterranean to the Jordan. Now, a wise parent says to the child who continues to drive recklessly, it is time to take the keys away. Economic inequality. Francis of Rome recently said, inequality is the root of social evil. Our nation's current economic free-for-all puts wealth into fewer and fewer hands, and this is economic violence. Francis of Rome is not naive about economics. Again, these are concerns for peacemakers. Several weeks ago, one of my teeth broke. It's endemic to my years. That and visits to my dentist have been distracting. But distractions are many for all of us. Family and work obligations distract us. Football, baseball, golf, soccer, basketball, a massive entertainment world that pervades our electronic world distract all of us. The distractions are many. Retaining focus on the somber realities of our world requires a lot of inner strength and discipline. It's not easy to do that, and I think you two do that. So today, as we recognize and honor you as the Jeannette Rankin Peacemakers of the Year, I think the best way we can honor them is to renew our own commitment to be nonviolent people knowing that doing so requires us to channel our energy beyond our distractions. The avenues for us to resist evil are many. The task set before us by the somber realities facing us seems overwhelming, and we all get overwhelmed by that. But today is an opportune moment for us to renew our intent to be peacemakers. So I ask you to evaluate your own inner spirit. Check how you are dealing with the many distractions in your life. Nonviolence does not imply allowing oneself to be used as a doormat. It does imply avoiding conflict. Dealing with conflict, but not being consumed by it. Nonviolence is a form of active resistance to evil. We see nonviolence in both Jesus, the Jewish man, and Mahatma Gandhi. Neither was passive in the face of the threat or of evil. Both resisted evil, but never violated those doing evil. To be nonviolent is to be fully human. And I think that's ultimately why we gather to honor you today, Kathi and Woody. You're becoming more and more fully human. All the great things Betsy said about you, that's what human beings do. And that's why it's great to have you stand among us as a reminder, an exemplar of what we are able to do. So thank you for the example you give to us by maintaining your focus in spite of the many distractions in your life. And thank you for inspiring us not just today, but with your life to join you as peacemakers.
Hey, you two. It's been a long time since I've been asked to do public speaking, and I have to confess that I was a little, although I said yes immediately, I also was a little reluctant on some level to take it on. And it only has to do with the fact that what I know to be so true about who you are in the world and what it is you bring to bear, that although it is absolutely expressed in the works that you do 100%, it more specifically has to do with who you are, of course. And as I age, my memory of the actual events fades, okay? So I'm not going to be able to recount the many, many things that I've been involved with you doing. I do remember so clearly that everything on the programmatic side of the Peace Center, when I was there, had your enthusiasm and love and joy at the utter center of it. Everything. Your fingerprints are all over the place, and apparently still are. So for sure, not only the Peace Center, but the whole community of peacemakers and lovers of peace, you stand at the very heart of that community. So I found myself, kind of reflecting on, well, if it's not specific events, although now that I've said that, another one is I'm reminded of, and that is that when my daughter Satya wanted to respond to the events in Sri Lanka after the tsunami of 2004, again, it was the two of you who were just right there, gathering the community of friends and others together to get the funds that she needed in order to go over there. And actually, I was just with her this past week, and she said, "Give them my love and give them a hug," which I'll do. So absolutely, it's very, very much in your activities. By their works we shall know them, and what we shall know is their love. And you too, for me, are the utter embodiment of living love, And I think about what Pierre Teilhard de Chardin said about joy being the infallible sign of the presence of love. Those two, I mean, they're just walking joy mongers, you know. There's such a joy to be around. And, you know, as I was also thinking about different moments when I've encountered you and realizing, kind of surprised, that a lot of them took place on the many bridges of Missoula. A metaphor, you know, for the bridge builders that these two are. But I clearly remember walking to work one day over the Higgins Street Bridge, and here come, you know, I sort of got my head down. I should have taken that other mic. But anyway, I've sort of got my head down thinking about the day, and I look up, and here's Kathi and Woody, and all of a sudden this huge smile comes into my heart. It's them, all these people that I love that are such lovers themselves. Really, that is just all that I have to say about you. You know, I think about that poem by Wendell Berry that he ends. He's talking about having lived a full and rich life, and that, you know, as he ages, he's realized that, you know, every day there is less and less reason not to give ourselves away. And that's you guys, to me, constantly. So thank you so much for coming to Missoula. You've made a huge, huge difference, and we love you. Thank you for being love.
Hi, I'm Kathi and Woody's oldest son, Woody Jr., and I didn't realize that this would be so transparent, so I didn't think you'd be able to see all the props that I bring up here today. And I'm one of the distractions that Jim Hogan referred to of their daily lives. Jim's reputation extends all the way to the East Coast, and I knew that if I had to follow him, that I was doomed. But I figured I'd do the best that I could when they asked me to talk a little bit, and I figured I'd try to be the cherry on top of Jim's comments and Anita's comments as well. I was trying to give some thought to peace in general, and the more I started to think about it, I was thinking, to a certain degree, the essence of peace is an inert quality, and in a way it requires no action, it's only acceptance. You know, if you think about Quaker meeting and things like that. On the other hand, when you talk about war and things like that, that requires a lot of energy, a lot of action, and a lot of money. And that's too bad, because we'd be so much better off, our society, if we were peaceful. I mean, in a sense, less is more. And I think that my parents have always been a good example of that. In terms of their life and living simply. And I was reading the announcement in the Make It Missoula thing as I was sort of gathering my thoughts, and they kind of coincided with the idea that if peace is created as we break down barriers and work to understand and appreciate others, and Kathi and Woody truly lead the effort. And a couple weeks ago, I was running in my neighborhood in Brooklyn, and I saw a UN flag flying above one of the homes or apartments, and I thought that was really unusual, because generally people have flags for their sports teams or their country or something like that, and I thought, you know, wow, if everybody could fly a UN flag, it would remove a lot of boundaries, and to me that sort of is what tends to get in the way in a lot of cases with regards to peace. It's the boundaries and the labels that people put up, and that if we could remove those, then everybody would treat each other accordingly. and if you think about some of the boundaries that people put up, you have geographic boundaries. You know, I live in the United States and you live elsewhere. Or you have professional boundaries, like I'm a white-collar person, you're a blue-collar person. And even athletically, you have you have the people who are diehard Seahawks fans, and you have the people who bleed Bronco orange. But what for me was really nice about growing up was that my parents taught us to really disregard the labels and not and look more to people as they are rather than sort of what their title is or anything like that. And it was a really good lesson to learn, and I really didn't. I can't say that to a certain degree it kicked in or it was made more clear than when we moved down to Georgia. And people truly sort of were black or white. And that was something that I wasn't really prepared to understand until I got down there, and I had to make some adjustments accordingly. But just to kind of touch on some of the things that they have sort of done throughout our lives and sort of memories that I have, they go back to sponsoring exchange students from Ethiopia, visits to the Freedom House in Philadelphia, work that they've done with various Quaker communities, and even my mom and I driving down to Jacksonville when they reinstated the draft to attend a seminar for conscientious objectors. And they've always really set a good example of peace and acceptance for me. On a side note, I can tell you that growing up, that whenever you were trying they were always a united front. And that's probably what's made them so strong. You could never play one off the other, I can tell you that. I tried many times, yeah. But anyways, my goal is really to follow is really to follow in their footsteps. And as I sort of approach the end of my career and the next phase of my life, that's kind of how I would like it to manifest itself. And if I had to sum it up, it would probably be best reflected in my personal mission statement. And that statement is, as a man amongst men, my mission is to create a world of learning and serenity by creating awareness and leading by example. So that's the way I try to lead my life and what I hope will direct a lot of my actions going forward. Finally, in the last, just as a last piece, I was trying to put all these thoughts together, and I knew that somewhere some inspiration would come. And as many of you know, we're in the process of sort of celebrating my mother's 75th birthday. And for those of you who don't know, they have a really special relationship with a student, or our next student, Wei Wei Tun. If you would stand up for a second. So I don't know if you've heard about Wei Wei, but Wei Wei showed up, and my parents were the host family when she was a freshman at the University of Montana. She's subsequently gone through 4 years. She's from Myanmar. She subsequently went through 4 years of undergraduate and 2 years in the pharmacy school, and now she's a pharmacist in Washington State. And they've developed a pretty special relationship. And I think she's a good reflection, and you all here of something that's really special to me, and that's my ability to share my parents and all that they have to offer with everyone else, because they set such a good example, and I'm happy that they can kind of spread their love and their message to so many people. But Wei Wei doesn't know that we didn't get a chance to catch up, but if she doesn't mind, Wei Wei put together a little book of memories for my parents. It's really nice, and I think it'll be on display here, somewhere. But the poem in the front really caught my attention last night, and I basically paraphrased it a bit to encompass what my parents do. And it goes like this. It says, I found friends in Missoula since 2007. Met a sweet couple at Bonner Park through MIFP. Greeted and had Big Dipper ice cream. Talked and dropped me off at Aber Hall. They cared enough to provide me winter attire. They invited me to the first Thanksgiving meal. They showed me around town. They lifted up my rainy days with encouraging words. They nourished me with their home-cooked meals and cards. They were concerned about how I was doing in college. They remembered my birthday. They supported me with fundraiser events. They introduced me to wonderful people in town. They brought me so much joy. They're an amazing couple full of love, kindness, and compassion. They are very thoughtful. They brighten my days. I found friends in Missoula.
Hi, I'm Suzanne Starrett, and I'm. Is it done? Okay. I'm Suzanne Starrett, and I'm a member of the Missoula Peace Quilters. And I feel like I repeat this every year, but it's so important to understand that as a group creating this award, it builds each of us as individuals. It builds us as a group. And what we create together, not one of us could have done alone. And the process is one of creativity and enthusiasm and new ideas and new techniques and trying things and sometimes saying, oh no, I don't like that. And somehow managing to say that in a way that we can all move from it or help understand what it means to one person or another. In getting to learn more about Kathi and Woody, their lives are big, as you are hearing today, and so we created this. I guess I think this is angled, maybe not the best. I won't be moving it. If you can't see it, we will be moving it. How's that? I hope you can tell that it's the world. When we meet with award recipients and learn about them, we all take notes vociferously and we interview and gather information and then we sit on that for a while. We come back together and pick out the things that just really grabbed our hearts. And oh my gosh, the list was huge. And then that pretty much said huge is the issue here. That these are people who go to the world, the entire world, and bring it back to Missoula and share Missoula with the world. The technique on this piece is called snippets. And it's actually little pieces of fabric that are cut and just mosaic kind of design placed on a background. And I think that says a lot of how we felt, that there are pieces to the whole, and that one of the more recent acts that they were involved with was gathering funds to purchase a boat for a group who were transporting children to school across a body of water. And this is the boat, so a sample of the long boat that travels the world with their message. And on it is written, Friendship Missoula is the name of that boat. And then there have been small red beads that have been placed in all the parts of the globe that they traveled to and shed their love and did something that, again, from the smallest of building a relationship with one person to putting that love into the flow of the entire world. I recently saw a PBS special, maybe somebody else did too, the Hubble photos of the universe, and I found myself thinking, oh, we should have done the universe. But I don't think they've traveled there yet. And then there are stars on the map as well of places they call home. On the bottom, quilted into this, and Pat Cross did a lot of the, well, she did all the quilting, and she's not able to be here today. And she quilted in a quote that she had from our interview. The bud stands for all things, even for those things that don't flower, for everything flowers from within. And this is to them. Thank you for your listening. On the back is a label that we always put for the
Are the beads from where they were?
they've been, yeah. Yeah, they're little red beads where they travel.
It was really interesting because it was very recently somebody said, do you know how many countries you've been to or not? Or do you have a list? And I thought, oh, Woody does. He always makes lists, does journals, does diaries. So if you want to know where we've been and what it was like, we have all those albums and journals and things. But I went home and I said, Woody, you have a list, don't you, somewhere? And I said, how many countries is this that we've been to? And it was 39. And so, you know, I thought, you know, this thing is a month away. And the person who asked me said, there's no way we can get 39 countries on a quilt, you know, and all this. So I just think it's beautiful the way you've done this. It's simply beautiful. And thank you.
Thank you very much.
So much.
Beautiful.
Yeah, yeah. And now it's our turn.
You'll have to add more beads if you travel anymore.
Right.
Do you have any extras we could have? We'll sew them in ourselves.
But I want to thank some people. And first of all, in connection with Woody Jr., and I don't even know he knew about Nepal today, but he introduced me to a friend in New York, Sumi, and I meet her very briefly. In fact, she does my nails. So, but anyway, I've always heard a lot about Sumi, and whenever she comes back from Nepal, she brings me something. And this weekend, I've been wearing this wonderful cashmere scarf that she brought because it was chilly this weekend, and I would just throw it around me and stay warm. And so I'm thinking of Sumi and her family today. Thank you to the Peace Quilters, a wonderful group of people quietly working behind the scenes. It has been fun to get to know them. In fact, when we had our interview, we decided it might be a roast today instead.
This guy's perfect.
Yeah, right. We had a great interview months ago, and they have probably been working ever since. Thank you to Betsy Mulligan-Dagg, who has spent hours putting this event together. She was so gracious with her time and with helping us with many tasks. Betsy went several extra miles to make this a very exciting time for us. Thank you, Betsy. To special friends, Anita Doyle, Father Hogan, Beth Youngblood, KD, who never hesitated to say yes when we asked them to be a special part of this event. And I had to laugh when Anita said, I didn't hesitate, but, you know. We gave her enough time, though, didn't we? I think so. It was beautiful, Anita. To our two sons, Woody Jr. and Greg, who have made this a very special family time for us. Thank you. And to all of you here today, you are all beautiful friends. And I'm so grateful for all who are here. I'd like to add a few personal words, and then Woody would like to speak as well. Throughout our 55 years of marriage, many, many people have touched our lives. I'd like especially to address our move to Missoula, which was in 2001. Missoula opened up a world of opportunity for us. Because we had been involved in several peace activities in the past, it was only natural that we would gravitate to those in Missoula. We found the Jeannette Rankin Peace Center and the Missoula Friends Meeting. We didn't have to go far to discover the many needs of people right here in our community. We have seen poverty, hunger, loneliness, and the needs of the many veterans who have returned from war. There's much to be done right here in Missoula. One of my favorite sayings and beliefs is, peace begins when the hungry are fed. That one sentence says a lot to me. Think about it. We also found the University of Montana and its international student programs. There we combined our love for travel and becoming community friends, host family to many programs, intergenerational partners to students from the School of Pharmacy, and the list goes on. One special treat was meeting Wei Wei Toon and becoming her American parents. Through her, we expanded our list of friends with the international community. We also met Chuni from Cambodia, who made sure that we were taken care of every minute we were visiting his homeland. We met many of his friends. We are very grateful for both of these lovely friends. So this is where so much of our recent global peacemaking began. We have visited students and friends in Myanmar, Cambodia, Laos, and New Zealand. They have welcomed us with open arms. We have seen the best and the worst of their countries. We have addressed their needs in small ways. The Book of Quaker Faith contains testimonies by which we live. Here is one suggestion for the alternative to war. The almost unimaginable devastation that results from modern war makes every more urgent its total elimination. We would refrain from participating in all forms of violence and repression. We would make strenuous efforts to secure international agreements for the elimination of armaments and to remove the domination of militarism in our society. We would work for greater understanding at all levels, from the kindergarten to the United Nations, of proven techniques for nonviolent resolution of conflict. And we would promote and assist programs of conversion to peaceful uses of facilities built for war. Thank you for this most humbling gift of the 2015 Peacemaker Award. Thank you.
You're known by the company you keep. And could I have all the peacemakers? I know I see Dan Gallagher there and Chestnuts that have been named in the past stand up. Tom Javins, I know is here. Oh, yeah. What better company can you keep than these people? It was truly an honor to be listed along with these people. After Betsy called, the news didn't sink in for about a couple weeks. And suddenly I said, gee, Jim Hogan, Anita Doyle, Tom, all these people, we're listed with them. I don't think you could be in a better company than these people, and we're truly honored to be on that list. I saw Ethel McDonald. She's here too, I think, somewhere. Yeah, oh, hi, Ethel. And we were coming outside of the symphony one time, and Ethel congratulated us and said what an honor it was for her to get the award. She said it was the greatest honor I've ever gotten. And this is true with Kathi and I, too. By far the greatest honor. And that includes being named captain of the safety squad in 6th grade.
And I was too, actually.
But anyway, it's truly an honor to be mentioned in the same breath that these people are. And hopefully we can live up to that. There's just one other point I'd like to make, and that's there's many of you out here, sitting out here today, that haven't been named Peacemaker, that are worthy of it. We know this. I mean, there's so many people I look around, and I know that some of the work you people do is just, I admire it. And it just, I guess it's a little bit of luck involved, getting this award, but there's so many out here that are deserving. Also, there are many people that couldn't make it here today, also deserving people. Maybe that's why we love Missoula. It's the people here. And maybe that's why we're so happy we retired here. Thank you very much for it. Not a correction, Betsy. We were talking about the mixer you gave us to take down the Belize?
Yes.
For the girl that couldn't cook? We got $15 for that.
If you guys will just stay up here, I would like to invite the Peacemakers to come up and join them up here along with them. I remember a newsletter article. Come on up here. I remember a newsletter article that Kathi wrote for our weekly electronic newsletter one time, and in it she made the commitment to do one thing each day for peace, and she challenged us to do that. They're still challenging us, and I think that's one thing that we can all take away today as a way to honor them, to take that challenge up. And I present to you, there are some Peacemakers missing. We have Connie Skousen and Julie Grant and Alice Campbell that are no longer with us, and some people couldn't make it. Oh, John Bow, yes, thank you for that. But this is the inspiration from Missoula. These are the footsteps that we seek to walk in. So we appreciate all of you. You can find out more about all of them in the scrapbooks downstairs, and also there's a guest book to sign, so be sure to sign the guest book when you go down there. On the back of your program is a list of people to thank for today, including Christ the King and the folks here that helped make arrangements and all the music and the families. So thank you very much for being part of us here, and Kathi and Woody, you are my rock, and thank you. Thank you.
So Peacemaker said, this old world's got problems, and sometimes I think you can solve so many by yourself. Other times, it takes the whole doggone world